What's up, guys? It's Meon. I am back with another video, and NASCAR has finally officially released the schedule for the 2024 season, at least for the Cup Series. So we're going to take a look at it, we're going to review it, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it. Because, quite frankly, we get one new track added to the schedule, we got some tracks moving around, there's some chaos involved here. Let's take a look at it. So, with that being said, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on future videos and streams. And let's get into it. So, the unofficial start to the season, if you will, the Clash, that will be Sunday, February 4th. And then duels will be Thursday, February 18th, or sorry, February 15th. February 18th is a Sunday, and that's going to be the day of the Daytona 500 to kick off the season. And then the very next week, we immediately get into our first bit of chaos because Atlanta is the second race of the season. Reminder that Atlanta is a super speedway now. So having back-to-back super speedway races is going to be very fucking interesting. And I'm already going to tell you right now, the point standings are going to look weird as hell, most likely, after those first two races. And then you get Vegas and Phoenix, followed by Bristol, Coda, Richmond, and Martinsville. Okay, we're having this discussion again. NASCAR. Obviously, one of the biggest things that fans are clamoring about, and drivers, is the short track package needs to be fixed. Obviously, we know this. But another thing that needs to be adjusted, having all three of these short tracks now within 4 weeks of each other, because you've got Coda in the middle of that, Circuit of the Americas for those who don't know. All three of these races need to be moved back in the schedule. Because you have these races in the middle of March, mid to late March, and Martinsville now the first week of April, where, you know, they're in the mid-Atlantic, northeast kind of area. You're dealing with Mother Nature and the cold. Now, obviously, NASCAR knows Mother Nature quite well, but, you know, it's not just rain, it's the cold. I mean, hell, there have been times where Martinsville's been hit by snow. It wasn't even that long ago when that happened. Remember Clint Boyer winning at Martinsville, like, mid to late 2010s? Yeah, that race had to get pushed back because of snow. If you know the one I'm talking about, you know what I mean. So, yeah, and the other thing too is that Bristol's going back to the concrete for the spring race. They've done away with Bristol dirt, which honestly, it's going to be interesting because if the fans show up and we get better attendance for the Bristol spring race compared to the previous Bristol races on, around this time of the year on the concrete, so basically before Bristol dirt, if attendance gets better compared to previous spring Bristol concrete races, then okay. But if not, it's going to look like a failure. And I wouldn't even be surprised if people end up saying, put dirt back on Bristol. I get that it's sacrilege. I understand that. But the whole reason why Bristol dirt became a thing was to try and, figure out the attendance issue there. And I would honestly say that each year, Bristol dirt had gotten better. Hell, putting it at night was a relatively smart move, and I would be all for doing that. But again, get it out of the month of March, for crying out loud. Please. Like, move Bristol, Richmond, and Martinsville, and also spread them out. Like, you don't need to have them near each other in the schedule anymore. Largely because with everything getting more and more expensive, you're pulling attendance away from each other in that regard. So, just personally, I would put Sonoma where Phoenix is right now, so that would be March 10th. So put Sonoma as the fourth race of the season, move Phoenix back a week to where Bristol is, so March 17th. Then do Texas March 24th, move Coda back to March 31st, and then from April onward, you just figure it out. I mean, maybe you do Talladega the first weekend of April, and then after Talladega, then you go to one of Bristol, Richmond, or Martinsville. If you want to put one right after the other, fine, but then move the other one further out. But just spread them out, That'd be nice. Please. So after Martinsville on April 7th, you have Texas, Talladega, Dover, Kansas, Darlington. Then the All Star race goes back to North Wilkesboro, which is set to get a repave. So hopefully, with an improved short track package, we don't end up seeing Kyle Larson dominate the whole freaking time, which don't get me wrong. It being that North Wilkesboro is a throwback to days of old with NASCAR, Kyle Larson dominating the field the way he did was a throwback to that in a way because, in the past, NASCAR's had races where whoever's leading has either won by over a lap or almost by a lap or whatever. So, yeah, but please, again, fix the fucking short track package for fuck's sake. And then after the All-Star race, you obviously have the Coke 600 at Charlotte. And then I love how this works out. You have Gateway, Sonoma, Iowa, New Hampshire, Nashville, and Chicago as the next 6 races. 3 of them are tracks that NASCAR has returned to within recent years. You also have Sonoma, you have New Hampshire, and then you have Chicago Street Race Part 2. Now, as a New Hampshire native myself, having it moved to June is relatively interesting. Shouldn't be as hot as it's been there in July and August, so we'll see. Not totally mad about it or upset about it in any way. I'd rather prefer to have it, in the first round of the playoffs because reasons, but I'll take it. I may or may not go. We'll see. But another thing that has to be addressed here is yes, you heard me correctly. Iowa is back. And not only is it back for the Xfinity Series, but the Cup Series finally gets to run Iowa. And we're just gonna have to see how it goes. I hope to God it goes well because this has been something that people have been screaming about for the last several years to have the Cup Series come to Iowa. I mean, hell, IndyCar practically saved the racetrack from dying out in recent years, in a way. So I'm hoping that NASCAR puts on a great show for the Cup Series there, and Xfinity should be pretty good as well. But yeah, congratulations, Iowa. Welcome back to the NASCAR schedule. Obviously, of course, this comes with Auto Club not being here anymore, but who the fuck knows what's going to happen there. Is it going to become a short track or not? Can somebody give us answers, please? And then after the Chicago Street Course, which is another thing, if Mother Nature does not impact that race next year like it did this year, I'm wondering how the race is going to go if it's fully dry and what the response will be to it. Because I had seen some people say after this year's race that if it's a fully dry race course, it wouldn't be the same with with the wet conditions that we had this year. So who knows? It hopefully it's good. And then after that you have Pocono, and then you have Indianapolis on the oval again. So not only is Bristol Dirt gone, but the Indy Road Course race is gone, and the true and proper Brickyard 400 is back. Honestly, I think Indy has more to prove than the Bristol Spring race because if the next gen car could put on a great race on the Indy Oval, then it should stay here. Because let's be real, the Indy Road Course was getting to be a clown show, in recent years. So if the next gen car could put on a great race on the oval, then Indy should stay on the schedule. However, and this might be a hot take, but if this return to the Indy Oval does not work out for the Cup Series specifically, and it's nothing against the Xfinity Series, because Xfinity can put on great races on either configuration. But for Cup specifically, if this does not work out, I think there should be strong consideration towards removing Indy from the schedule altogether. I hate saying that. Believe me, I do. But I think that's where we're at this point. Now, that doesn't mean you're leaving the indie market altogether because you have IRP right next door or something like that. Trucks have been going there for the last couple years, having returned there. You could probably put Xfinity races on over there as well. Cup, I don't know. I mean, if you're going to put Cup race on Iowa Speedway, then I would say give IRP a shot with the Cup Series, but who knows? But yeah, it's like with like with Bristol Spring back on the concrete, Indy on the oval, it's put up or shut up time, both in terms of race product and attendance. We're just gonna have to see what happens. And then after that, we get a 2-week break for the Olympics. With NBC having begun their coverage, starting with Iowa. So we get the Olympic break for 2 weeks. And then we come out of that with the final 4 races of the regular season: Richmond, Michigan, Daytona, and Darlington. So here's my thing on this. If Daytona is not going to be the regular season finale anymore, which quite frankly, I liked having Daytona as the regular season finale. To start and finish the regular season with Daytona, one, it's awesome. And two, it provides, chaos ahead of the playoffs, which I get some people don't really like that, but, it's just that heightened sense of drama and what could happen. Especially being it's a super speedway, so you could get a random winner pulled out of somebody's ass, Um, but that being said, if it's not going to be the regular season finale, then don't have it be the second to last race of the regular season. That just feels weird. Um, if anything, flip Indy and Daytona. Make Daytona the last race before the Olympic break, and then for this year, and then put Indy as the second to last race of the regular season before Darlington. I liked having Darlington as the playoff opener. I'm not mad that it's now the regular season finale. I kind of prefer Daytona in that spot a little more. So you could very well just say we'll just flip those 2 tracks, which you'd be right. But yeah, this is going to look interesting, all things considered. And then we get to the playoff schedule, which remains, for the most part, unchanged, except for the first round. Because now, the first round is Atlanta, Watkins Glen, and Bristol. Pure, unadulterated, fucking chaos. Oh boy. If anything, looking at that first round, you're going to want to stack up all the stage and playoff points you can possibly fucking get in the regular season. Because you're going to fucking need them. You got a super speedway, a road course, and a short track that's known for, if a wreck happens, there's always that chance that it collects a bunch of cars, with Bristol and whatnot. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out because, oh boy, this is going to be fun. And then, like I said, the rest of the playoff schedule and schedule in general really doesn't change a whole lot. Kansas, Talladega, and the Roval make up the round of 12. Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville for the round of 8. And then Phoenix remains the championship race. Lol. But with that said, again, it's an interesting schedule. There are some tweaks I would make. Um, Again, move Bristol, Richmond, and Martinsville's first races so that they're not, so early in the season and not near each other for the most part. Don't make Daytona the second to last race of the regular season if it's not going to be the regular season finale. And oh boy, that first round of the playoffs, man. That's going to be wild. But with all that being said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I will catch you all next time. Peace.